Perfect. So thank you to those of you who are here in person and to those of you who are viewing a recorded version of this presentation at a later moment in time. This is our summer 2022 information session for UHP Discover. My name is Marcel Crawford. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I work as an assistant director and advisor here within the University Honors Program, primarily working with our arts and sciences and allied health students. Give you a little bit of a look into what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to start with some welcome and introductions here. I'm going to then go over just a quick overview of UHP Discover. I will discuss what the application process looks like for the program, talk a little bit more about what it means to match with a faculty mentor moving through that process. And then I will touch upon what orientation for UHP Discover prior to the start of research this summer looks like and beyond. And finally, I will end with some time for questions. If you have questions as I'm going through the presentation, please feel free to unmute yourself or post a question in the chat, and I will be sure to address it as quickly as possible. So very quickly, for those of you here on the call with us, I'd like to do just a quick introduction, know sort of who's in the room. So your name, what are you studying, major, minor, certificates, what have you, what academic year are you? And then what would your dream research project look like if you were to have one? For those of you who are watching a recorded version of this session, spend some time reflecting on that last question there. What is your dream research project? So Saad, I want to pass it over to you.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm gonna try to make this quick because I'm currently driving, so I don't want to crash. But my name is Saad, biomedical engineer, first year, and I'm not exactly sure what my dream research would be because I have not had any research experience before.
Absolutely, that's perfectly fair. Thank you for doing that introduction. Drive safely. And for many people who are considering UHP Discover, this is going to be the first time they're engaging in research opportunities at a university level. So know that that's not an unusual position to be in. And in fact, this program is primarily marketed towards those folks who don't have a large breadth of research experience up until this point. So with that said, I just want to give a very quick overview of what UHP Discover is for the uninitiated. Maybe you've heard about this program, but haven't looked too much into it yet. So UHP Discover is an opportunity for honors students to be paired with a faculty mentor and conduct non-STEM research. And so by non-STEM, research outside of the science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine fields. Our faculty mentors come from a variety of colleges and departments, and they represent a multitude of research interests. One of the initiating ideas around starting UHP Discover, which began, I believe, in 2016, was the idea that oftentimes when we talk about research to students, what is conjured up is doing bench research, working in some type of lab, chemicals, goggles, lab coats, stuff like that, or doing something that is very data intensive. And we want students to recognize that there are a wide variety of ways to get involved with the academy and to do research, and there are plenty of opportunities to do so outside of that traditional schema that we have for research. This program is open up to any UHP student with at least one semester remaining in their undergraduate academic plan following summer 2022. So while we are somewhat restricted in the types of research we're offering as a program, we are not restricted in the honors students who can participate. You can come from any major, you can come from any background, you can have any career interest, but we do believe that there is value associated with this program for those of you. To continue in this overview, before I go into the nitty-gritty of the application process and the program itself, I like to start with mentoring because that is an aspect that is absolutely core to what we've envisioned for UHP Discover. The faculty partners that we have and the students who are researching alongside of them develop what's known as a mentoring relationship. And what does that look like? A mentoring relationship is intentional, it is mutually beneficial, and it allows for participants to develop transferable interdisciplinary skills. And by doing this, you're able to learn more about yourself, your capabilities, what you bring into a research environment, and expand in your competencies, while also expanding your network. And this is helpful in terms of facilitating self-reflection, helping you to understand why you are interested in the career you're interested in, what are aspects of a career you might not have thought about, being able to ask for authentic feedback and receive that feedback as necessary. Our mentors that we work with help our students to develop a network of researchers and gain confidence in the field. And through these mentoring relationships, students can grow as global citizen scholars. As part of the faculty application process for UHP Discover, they are asked specifically about what is their philosophy around mentoring students? What is their capacity to be able to invest in student growth and development? And we want to make sure that is something that is emphasized highly as a part of UHP Discover. Now, give me one moment. I want to pause for a minute. I believe we have someone who has hopped on to the call. Right, perfect. So continuing on, we want to make sure those mentoring relationships are beneficial to all people who are part of there. What we would not want to do as part of this program is to put you in an environment where you are conducting research, but you do not feel that you have the ability to ask for questions, the ability to ask for help, or feel that you are unsupported in the work that you're doing. This is a partnership. You are not purely just an employee. And that's something I want you to take into consideration as you look into the different projects that we offer this year. As we continue to go into our overview of UHP Discover, I want to emphasize the time commitment related to the program. So UHP Discover is intentionally designed as a full-time research opportunity. We're defining full-time from 75% to 100% full-time equivalency, approximately 30 to 40 hours a week, occurring during 10 weeks over the summer. Depending on which program or which research opportunity you apply to, you'll have the opportunity to conduct this research in a hybrid format, in a fully virtual format, or in an in-person format. As you go to apply for UHP Discover this cycle, you will see advertised clearly what format that particular research project is going to be offered as. Additionally, connected to the research that you'll be doing, we will also offer professional development sessions. These will occur on Friday mornings. These sessions have been developed with a growing partnership from folks across campus, including individuals in experience-based learning and career education, UC libraries, university honors program. We've worked with someone from engineering last year, and that team continues to grow to offer a great professional development opportunity. That series is going to be part of your 30 to 40 hours that you are working throughout the summer, and that's something that your faculty mentor will know about as well. It is also worth noting that the attendance at these professional development sessions is going to be expected. So make sure that you recognize that this is as much as a part of the program as the research that you're doing and the mentoring relationships that you're developing. And then once we finish up with everyone's research across 10 weeks over the summer, we will do final presentations in August, and you'll do those final presentations to a panel of participants, faculty mentors, UHP staff, and any invited guests if you would like to invite them. We are still waiting to make the call on what the modality is going to look like for this year's sessions. I'm going to say anticipate it being in a synchronous format of some type, but I'm not yet sure if we're going to be doing that virtually or in person. We'll continue to keep an eye out for what are restrictions, university policies, and regional and city expectations around COVID, what's in the best interest for everyone, and what makes most sense logistically. But anticipate holding on your calendar the date of Friday, August 5th, 2022, for the purpose of these presentations. Because UHP Discover is a full-time commitment, enrollment in additional coursework is very strongly discouraged. And the reason we ask that is for your best interest. We want you to be able to invest fully into this opportunity if it's something that you are interested in. And if you are taking classes at a full-time load, that's just a very big ask of your time and your ability to engage in those classes fully, the ability to meet the expectations set by you and your faculty mentor, as well as making sure there's time to take care of yourself. We don't want you to be overextended. We want you to be finding joy and fulfillment for this experience. Now, one of the big questions that students have about UHP Discover is, what does funding look like? So students can receive up to $4,000 before taxes for their summer research. Our students are paid at a rate of $10 an hour, and they are hired directly by the department in which they are conducting research. To that sense, you are considered an employee of the university. So that is a really great opportunity. That $4,000 is the highest amount, and that's based upon the assumption that someone is doing research for 40 hours a week across the 10 weeks of the entirety of the program. If you're working 30 hours a week across those 10 weeks, it would be $3,000. And if you're working some combination of hours between there, the price would be adjusted accordingly. Because you'll be doing between 300 and 400 hours of research and professional development through UHP Discover, it counts for 2 pre-approved honors experiences. As a reminder, for pre-approved honors experiences, if this is something that you're ultimately selected for, we will add that experience to the honors database. It'll be your responsibility to engage in the program fully. And then upon completion of the program, you'll be wanting to showcase it on your learning portfolio with both a 250 or so word summary of what this experience was about, as well as some type of artifact from the experience. So maybe a presentation that you put together, some resources from your research, what have you there. And before I hop into the application process, I want to pause and ask if we have any questions up to this point. All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and then hop into what the application process proper looks like. So again, all UHP students are eligible so long as they have one more semester at the university following this upcoming summer. And then again, a reminder that the research itself is non-STEM, but you don't have to be a humanities or a business or an education or what have you student to apply to these research opportunities. It's oftentimes very beneficial for you to look for research that is outside of your area of studies, just to gain a different perspective and a different lens. Occasionally, a faculty member will be trying to market their research project to students with a particular skill set or from a certain major background. And if that's the case, that request will be reflected in the description of a particular project. Because this is an opportunity for students to develop some initial research competencies, this program is particularly targeted towards first and second year students. But again, this is open to all UHP students. Our application process will be opening next week on Friday, February 11th, and it will be running through Sunday, February 20th. So about a week and a half for students to consider what projects are out there, to submit their applications, and to make sure all their information is squared away. Now, students are allowed to apply to multiple projects. So as you work through the application, you'll submit one application per project. You can apply to multiple projects. my personal and professional recommendation is that you're not applying to more than 2 to 3. And then what happens from that point is I will receive a copy of your application, and so will the mentor for the potential project you're interested in. That mentor will review your application, and then they will be given the option to extend an offer for an interview. And then based upon the results of those interviews, faculty members can make matching offers to students to do research for the summer. The way the program works is each research offering, each project we offer has one student, so it's a one-to-one relationship there. Again, to make sure we are emphasizing and supporting that mentoring relationship and development. That matching process will begin on February 21st, and it's going to conclude by Friday, March 11th, the Friday before our planned spring break for this academic year. In case you are wondering, this is what the application process is going to look like. So you'll see a narrative describing a little bit about UHP Discover itself. It's going to give you my contact information if you have any questions, a link to the website in case you want to review the format of the program. And that website is also going to have all the descriptions of the projects we are offering for this year. In the application, you'll include your contact information. So your first name, your last name, your UC email address, and a good phone number for you. Additionally, you will select which project you are submitting an application for. We will ask that you write a cover letter for that project and paste it into the text box within the application. That cover letter is going to serve as an introduction of yourself and why you are interested in applying to that specific research opportunity and what skills that you're bringing. And then there's some confirmation questions on there as well, requiring you to confirm that if you are matched with the program, you plan to engage fully with UHP Discover, that you understand that you are required to showcase it on your learning portfolio upon the completion of the program, and that if you are engaged in any summer coursework or outside work beyond UHP Discover, you are going to disclose that to the program coordinator, which is myself, as well as your faculty mentor. So we can take that into consideration and make sure we are crafting a schedule that is most appropriate for you. So again, once the application is submitted, then the matching process begins. So what matching with a mentor looks like, again, a faculty mentor will review each application that they receive. They will interview potential student researchers. If your cover letter materials match with their needs for the project, they'll extend an offer for an interview. And then after they are finished doing interviews, offer emails will be sent out by those faculty mentors, again, between the end of February, that February 21st date that we discussed, and the start of spring break. In order to confirm a match with a mentor, once you receive that email, you need to make a decision on whether or not you want to accept that offer. So in order to accept or decline, you must email that faculty mentor and CC myself on that email. You have 24 business hours to accept or decline a match. So if you get an offer at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time PM on a Tuesday, you need to respond back by 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time the following Wednesday. If you were to get that offer, say on a Friday, you would have through the weekend to think about it. It's not the expectation that you're checking your email outside of business hours, but the request would be to respond back on the next business day. If you are interviewing with other labs or research opportunities, you can request an additional 24 hours for a total of 48 hours. And that is specifically to give you the time to reach out to the faculty members of the other projects you're interviewing for and ask where you are at in their process. And that is to make sure that you feel empowered in making your decision and that you are making a choice that is beneficial to you. I'm a very strong believer in you don't have to accept a job just because it's offered to you. So if you read a project description, it seemed initially interesting to you, you applied it, applied to it, you went through the interview process, it did not connect with you in the way that you expected, then there's not the requirement that you accept an offer that is given to you. Again, matches need to be solidified prior to the end of business on Friday, March 11th. And then from there, we'll move on to what our next steps look like for the process. Finishing up our matching with the mentor, just some reminders and recommendations for how to submit a competitive application. What I would highly suggest to anyone applying is that you provide an up-to-date resume that clearly outlines your credentials, right? Again, many of the people applying to UHP Discover are first-time researchers or looking for their first research opportunity. So we're not expecting a multi-page CV, but we should understand what it is that you're interested in, what skills that you have developed, be it working a part-time retail job prior to coming to the university, be it leadership in an organization, be it connections to some of the classes that you've engaged in thus far in your academic journey. So in terms of education, you should indicate what college you are part of at the university, what your major, minor, certificate, what are you studying, your GPA. If it's relevant to include high school information, you can do that, especially if you are a first year student. Relevant courses you've taken that are applicable or make sense or contribute to your competencies for that particular research project. And if there's any achievements that you want to highlight, particularly those related to research or other work experiences or things that you're just proud of. Leadership involvement, as service, community engagement are also great skills to connect to as well, because that's important to have in a collaborative environment. So once we get through mid-March, matching is going to be completed, and then you'll hear follow-up information from me from that point forward. What will then happen is we'll have an orientation session. So mandatory orientation session will happen for our students in April 2022. During that time, we're going to discuss the logistics of what the summer looks like, as well as any administrative requirements that are needed from you. We'll go into more depth at that time. We'll be making sure that you're where you need to be in terms of getting hired by the specific department that you're working at. There is a contract that you'll complete that you and your faculty mentor will sign in terms of what your schedule looks like, what are mutual expectations, what are expected times out of the office, as well as just outlining some standards of conduct. And we'll walk through that form during that time as well. So it'll be very important that following the matching process that you're keeping an eye on your UC email address regularly for communications from both your faculty mentor as well as myself to ensure that by the time we get to this orientation, you're up to speed with what you need to know. And then when we look beyond orientation, we're going to yada yada through the entirety of the summer where you do research. And then we get to August and we do final presentations. Again, we're targeting August 5th for those presentations. That is a Friday. That will likely happen in a synchronous format, but I'm not yet certain if it will be happening in person or virtually. More information on that will follow. These final presentations will occur in the beginning of August. Each presentation should be about 6 to 10 minutes long, and it should follow the what, so what, now what format that we use in honors for reflection. If you're in need of any examples of what students have done in the past, once you get to that point, I am more than glad to be able to provide those to you, as well as to look at a sample presentation or a draft presentation that you're working at. So that is all of the information that I have in terms of overviewing UHP Discover. For those of you who are watching a recorded version of this presentation, I'm going to show my contact information slide right now. Send me an email, come to the honors office and look for me, ask for me. I'm happy to help answer questions. There's also really great information on the University Honors Program website about UHP Discover, which overviews a lot of the information I've talked about. You also see our social media handles on the screen right there. Feel free to follow us there for updates, as well as pay attention to your email for information from the honors newsletter, which will highlight more info related to UHP Discover as it comes out. That's a QR code for the student application. The QR code will take you to the link, but the link has not yet been updated to the 2022 summer projects. We're still finalizing those. So do not access the application yet unless you're watching this after February 11th. From then, it will have the updated information. Otherwise, you will be seeing outdated information. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording if you're watching a recorded version of this. Thank you very much for your time. I'm looking forward to seeing your application. And then I am going to open it up to questions for the people who are here presently in person.